Hi, everybody's. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. This is my Christmas premiere. It's going up on Boxing Day, which is the 26th. So you're seeing this the day after Christmas. And I will be doing live chat while this is going on. And I'm going to talk about my family's Christmas traditions, starting with what I remember from when I was young, or at least Christmas stories from what I remember from when I was young. My first Christmas that I don't remember because I was just a baby. My mother had recorded it for my dad because he was on a remote in the Air Force for the first, basically, year of my life. He left when I was 3 months old. Didn't come back until I was 17 months old. So he was gone for my first Christmas. And she set up the reel tape recorder and recorded it for him. And most of what you hear in the background from me is a lot of cooing and grunting and things of, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Things a 7-month-old would say, which is not a whole lot. But there was, Tammy and Kenny, my brother and sister, opening gifts and them. Tammy didn't say a whole lot on it, but she was only 2. A little over 2. And there was a lot of Kenny. Tammy got the ball, and Mom told him, "Yeah, that's Tammy's." He goes, "I know, but I opened it for her." He would get trucks, and didn't matter what kind of truck it was a Johnny Express truck. Another Johnny Express. It's funny to listen to. I've got that somewhere. I would like to have it put on some kind of CD if I could find somebody that can do it. I know they can do that with VHS tapes, but I don't know if they can do it with reel-to-reel. I think that would be a neat idea to give to Kenny for Christmas, but I'd have to find somebody to do it, and then, don't know if he'd want it or not. It's one of those things, because, I don't hear from him much. So, anyway, I should try to find out if I could do that somewhere, and how much it would cost me to do it. But anyway, that was my first Christmas. And Mom saying, I've got to feed Linda. And them keep going, and, she kept telling them, it's like, I got to feed Linda. I got to feed Linda. I'm assuming she got to feed me because I'm still here. So, but, yeah, that was my first Christmas. And the first Christmas I remember bits and pieces of was in England, when we came downstairs and there were dolls that were bigger than me and my sister both, that my mom had crocheted. And I loved those dolls. I wish I still had it, but I'm sure they would have disintegrated into nothing over the span of 50-some years. They were neat. So I remember that Christmas, little bits of it. But the rule was, you always had, everybody had to be up. everybody had to be dressed but Mom. Mom was allowed to be in her pajamas. And everybody had to have breakfast. So we always made sure that we had stock of Pop-Tarts in the house, and we would eat them cold. But, Daddy had to have breakfast, and he was always made a big deal out of making him breakfast. Had to have his eggs and his, cooked breakfast, just to, I don't know if he did it just to torture us kids or what, but, because, we had to have breakfast. And we weren't allowed in, when we lived in Japan, that was when I remember the rule went up that we weren't allowed to go past a certain point without Mom and Dad being up, because, there was a box that was put between two chairs that went into the living room from Santa Claus that said, don't go past this point until your parents are up. And that was when I was chosen to be the one to sneak into Mom and Dad's room and go wake Mom up. I guess I snuck better than my brother and sister did. Either that or I wouldn't have gotten in as much trouble or something. I don't know. But, I would crawl around Mom and Dad's bed and wake Mom up. We're up, Mom. Can we open presents now? And they'd probably just gotten to bed. I don't know how parents did that. They'd just go to bed, and as soon as they got to bed, the kids would get up and want to open presents that they'd just finished wrapping or just finished putting together. And not having kids, I didn't experience that, so one of those things I wish I had, but didn't get to. So, but that's okay. So, but that box I remember happening in Japan when we lived there. So, but we used to lay under the tree and just stare up at the lights and down and at all the presents underneath the tree, and just kind of enamored at all the sparkles and how pretty the tree was, and because we always got to help decorate the tree, and we'd put icicles on it, and as kids are, how kids clump the icicles together. Then Mom would go along behind us and pick up all the clumps and put the icicles on one at a time. I do not have the patience to put icicles on one at a time. I don't do icicles on a tree now because I have pets. So, my tree now is a ceramic tree, so I don't know what Maddie would do if I had a real tree. I don't know if she would try to eat it or knock it down or what she would try to do. But I don't have a real tree. I don't really have room for a tree. I could probably make room, but I will have my ceramic tree that my mama made. I'm fine with that. So, I actually have two of them. One was mine and one was Mama's. So, but it's a pretty little tree. And it sits quite nicely in my window. So, And let's see, what else did we do as Christmas traditions? I have a little note here somewhere, if I can reach it. I made notes for a change. We had an Advent ribbon that my grandmother had made. It was just a ribbon that had buttons on it, and we took turns taking the buttons off. And Mama always made sure that, every year we'd get to take turns on being the last one to take the last button off, because when you took the last button off, you got to ring the bell. Of course, we were always ringing the bell every night anyway. You take a button off and ring the bell. It's like, it's not Christmas yet, don't ring the bell. It's like, but Mom. So, ringing the bell meant Santa was coming. So, we weren't supposed to ring the bell until the night before Christmas. And I've got the poem around here somewhere, I just don't know where it's at, so. It's somewhere around here. Because I had made I had copied it and remade the ribbon, because over time the ribbon had gotten lost, or Tammy may have taken it with her or something, because we didn't have it anymore. So I don't know what happened to it. But I remade it, and so I'd found the poem and remade the ribbon and put new buttons on and everything. But yeah, that's one of our traditions. And well, I've gone through all of them, and I'm only 12 minutes in, so now I have to find different stories to tell you about Christmas. I had my first real tree. The tree we had, I'll tell you about the tree I had growing up. The tree that we had growing up was bought from my sister's first Christmas. So it was 2 years old when I came along. And the last Christmas it was used I was in my 20s, I think. I'm sure it was when I was in my 20s, because Mom and Dad went back on the road when I was, after I got married, so I was 27 at least. So that tree was 29 years old. It had a serious lean to it. From us diving under it on Christmas morning. Very serious lean to it. But it was still, when it was decorated, the prettiest tree that I'd ever seen. My mother could do wonders with a tree. So she still did, even all those years later. She still made a tree look beautiful. The last few years before Daddy passed, we didn't put icicles on it, but we had some garland. Not garland, it's not called garland. Maybe it was called garland. It's not the green stuff, but it was decorative, like you string popcorn around the tree. But it wasn't popcorn, it was these little silver snowflake looking things. Off the tree, looked gaudy as hell. because they were plastic and just looked junky. But once you got them on the tree, they looked really pretty with the light shining on them. We had several strings of those that we put on, and there wasn't a decoration on that tree. Sorry for the whistle. But there wasn't a decoration on the tree that wasn't handmade, and most of them made by my mom. So the trees were just, Mom's tree was always the prettiest tree. So, but I had my first real tree, my first Christmas with my ex. This was the year before we got married. So that would have been 1991. I'd never had a real tree before that. We'd had the same tree growing up, and I always spent Christmas with my folks. So, or, when I lived in Kansas City, I spent it by myself, so I didn't have the need for a tree. I had a fake tree when I was living on my own, just a little one. Didn't need a big tree, because, I either went over to a friend's house or went over to my aunt's house, or I didn't need a big tree at my house. I remember one year I left my tree up till March. I didn't see any sense in, didn't need to take it down for anything. Wasn't in my way, because I was hardly ever home. I worked. When I went home, I went to bed. So it was fine with me if I left it up. So anyway, but my ex always wanted a real tree, so we had a real tree. And they were pretty, but they bugged my allergies to no end, because I'm allergic to trees. So there's that. What else do we have in the way of Christmas traditions? My mom used to make all these Christmas goodies. We had a table that was bigger than my desk, and there was all kinds of Christmas goodies all over it. There was bonbons and divinity and peanut butter divinity and fudge and peanut butter fudge and cookies and peanut brittle and, oh my goodness, if you could think of it, Mom would make it, and that table was covered. And as soon as one batch ran out of something, she would make another batch and put it out. And it's a wonder we all didn't roll around on our, we didn't all look like weebles. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down, because you couldn't walk by there without grabbing something. Oh, and sugar cookies. She made sugar cookies and rolled some of them out and cut them out with cookie cutters, and some of them she did on with a cookie press. And so they were all different shapes, but she never iced them. She never put icing on her sugar cookies. We just ate them as is, and they were wonderful. I've got a recipe. Maybe I should make her sugar cookies sometime. I couldn't do them justice like Mama did, because I can't roll them out like she did. Don't have the room. But I do have our cookie press in storage. I could do the cookie press thing. So I should do that. I need to get over to storage and go through stuff. But I don't have time right now because I'm working on this. This is part of a Christmas present. And I just started it. I have to have it done by Christmas, so yeah. We shall see. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning here, and I couldn't sleep, so I figured I'd get up and do this while it was quiet, so maybe Maddie won't bark in the middle of it, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and people aren't milling about in the hallway. She's been barking a lot, because I have a new neighbor, and my new neighbor, bless her heart, likes, hangs out in the hallway a lot. She walks about in the hallway quite a bit, quite often. So Maddie barks a lot. Little Miss barks a lot. But they can't complain because they're the reason she's barking. So, anyway. But we used to go caroling with the church. And that was always fun. Back when I was in better shape and the cold didn't bug me so much. Now it's just too cold. Of course, it was 80 degrees on Monday and Tuesday. I was in a sundress on Monday and shorts on Tuesday. And now I'm in a sweater because it's currently 30 something. It is 34. It's a little chilly outside. So, but it is November and it's supposed to be cold. It wasn't supposed to be 80 degrees, if you ask me. One year, I remember we went to Iowa for Christmas. That was fun. Went to see my family up there, Daddy's family, his brothers and his mom. At least I think it was Christmas. Might have been Thanksgiving, but I think it was Christmas. Usually we only went in the summertime to see his family. I remember we going out with my cousin and we got stuck in the mud. It was awful. We came home filthy, trying to push the car out of the mud. So, but we got unstuck finally. So, let's see, what else did we do for Christmas? Traditions. We'd eat on the good china. If we had company. We didn't always have company on Christmas. So, why does it we always save the good china for company? Why don't we use the good china all the time? I think we should use the good china all the time, not just save it for special events. If I had good china, I'd use it all the time. I don't have good china. I have Corelle. So, let's see. Trying to think. There was one year my mom put 4 presents under the tree without any names on them. And I kept trying to guess what was in them. And I kept guessing. I was like, well, one of them's a basketball, because my brother was wanting a basketball. And I needed a new TV, or I wanted a new TV, because mine was going kerflunk. And I was like, one's a TV, one's a basketball. And I didn't know what the other two were. Had no clue. Mom's like, well, which one do you think's a basketball? And I pointed to it, and she goes, go try to pick it up, which was a taboo. You're not allowed to shake the presents underneath the trees. So I go pick it up, and it's really, really heavy. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not a basketball. Come Christmas morning, Mom, we're finished unwrapping presents. She did it because Daddy would always go out on Christmas Eve and buy a bunch of things for Mom, so that she was always the last to unwrap presents, and she didn't like being the last to unwrap presents. This way, she wasn't the last one done, because she had those 4 under there that had no name on them. So we would be the last ones done. So, because we didn't know who they went to, only Mom knew. Anyway, so come Christmas morning, she passes out those 4 presents, and one of them's a TV, and the one that I thought was a basketball was a basketball. She'd taken the horseshoes from outside and wrapped them in newspaper and stuck them at the bottom of the box, so we wouldn't know it was a basketball. One of them was a watch for my dad, and the other one was a vacuum cleaner for my sister, who had just gotten married that summer and needed a vacuum cleaner. So, but I got 2 of them right. 2 out of 4 ain't bad. I got 50-50. I didn't try to guess the other 2, because I didn't know what they were. But yeah, it's when my brother would come in and turn my TV off because I'd be watching soap, and he thought I shouldn't be watching soap because it had somebody portraying a homosexual in it, and he felt that I should not be watching it. I'm like, Mom knows I'm watching it, and she doesn't see anything wrong with it, so I was allowed to watch it. It was on my TV in my room. He was not my parent, but he would come in and turn the TV off or change the channel, and then he would abscond with the channel knob. But my TV was not the greatest. It was old. It had belonged to my grandmother at one point, and they had given it to me because they didn't need one. They didn't need it anymore because they'd gotten a new one. So I got their old one. It was just a black and white TV. It wasn't anything special. But it was my TV. So anyway, I digress. So let's see. One year Mom wrapped a present for my dad in a box, and then wrapped it in another box, and then wrapped that in another box, and so on and so on and so on. I don't know how many boxes she wrapped. It was funny once. Daddy wouldn't have been so thrilled if she'd done it again next year. My dad was the king of making boxes. So when he would go to wrap presents, he would need to make a box to fit something, because he would buy things that didn't quite fit what you would think would need to be in a box. So he would have to make a box to fit something. And then I would have to wrap all of his presents for Mom. So we would usually make a day of it out in the shop, me wrapping presents for him. Which I didn't mind doing. So let's see what else. Trying to think. Give me a second. I'll think of another story here in a minute. I'm thinking maybe. I'm trying to think. There's got to be more Christmas stories. And once I got old enough, I used to help Mom make the cookies. We would spend the day making sugar cookies. That was always special. We finally got her a good cookie press that wasn't hand cranked, because she got to where she couldn't crank the one we had. Got her a battery operated one. So just cranking that one by hand got really hard, even for me. So got her one that was battery operated, and she was tickled over that. It eats batteries, but at least you can put out some decent cookies with it. If that tote was near the front of the storage area, I would go get it this week. But I don't think it's where I can get to it. Not without a major production getting into it, and I don't think I can get into it very easily right now. Because as much as I would like to roll out cookie dough like Mom did, I know I can't do it like she did. So I don't have the counter space. But maybe someday. Who knows? Kate made bonbons last year like Mama made. They turned out really good. They were almost as good as Mama's. A little bit on the big side, but almost as good as Mama's. Here's the funny thing. Bonbons are made with mashed potatoes. Who'd have thunk it, right? They don't taste like mashed potatoes. They taste like coconut candies. I may have blown somebody's mind and turned them off of bonbons, but, if you didn't know it, then you can forget it and still love bonbons. So, let's see. What else? Used to get to go shopping with Daddy for Mom for Christmas. We could make a day of it. Go shopping for Mama and find her neat things for Christmas. He was usually looking for something, I don't know, usually something specific that he had seen somewhere but didn't know where, and we could never find it because it was something he'd seen on TV that was one of those only on TV kind of things, and so, but yeah. Anyway, we usually found her some pretty neat stuff. Oh, that doesn't want to sit right. Anyway, so I need a drink real quick. So new Christmas traditions are normally I go out with Kate to my niece and nephews, and then on Christmas Eve, and then my sister and I do Christmas downstairs. On Christmas Day for she and I, and we usually ask a few of the girls in the apartments that don't have any place to go and don't have anybody to be with on Christmas Day to join us. And we have, kind of a non-traditional Christmas dinner, usually. And one year we did have turkey. Last year we had, what did we have last year? I don't remember. Ribs. We had ribs last year. This year, because she's broken, we're going to have our Christmas with the girls on Christmas Eve, and we're having pizza because it's easy to clean up. Nobody has to cook. And then my niece and her husband are coming in on Christmas Day with my great niece and great nephews to spend Christmas Day with us, Christmas afternoon. So Christmas morning, my sister and I will get together and swap out our gifts, and that's how we'll spend this Christmas since she's broken. For those of you who don't normally watch my channel, my sister fell and broke her pelvis in 3 places 8 weeks ago, but she's doing well. She's walking with a cane now, so there's a quick update for you. She's walking with a cane and doing quite well, thankfully. So we have things to be blessed with, be thankful for this Thanksgiving season. So here at the building, they usually put up several trees that, the tenants decorate the big one in the common room. And then there's an angel tree that we keep for tenants that have passed on, that my late sister Camille was in charge of, and that has since fallen to me and my sister downstairs to be in charge of. And since she's laid up, I'm in charge of this year, but we've not lost anybody, so we don't have to worry about putting any new ornaments on it. Unless Kenny's passed. I need to check with Sandy on that. So anyway, that's when we keep an angel, put an angel on it for every tenant that has lived here, that has passed away, with their name on it. So in remembrance of them. It's kind of a neat thing to do. So I think 15 minutes worth of stories to tell here. Maddie gets something new every year for Christmas. Last year she got a new bed. I thought I was going to have to replace it this year, but I think it's still okay. So this year she was probably going to get a new collar, because her collar keeps loosening all of its own volition. And I'm trying It's not what she's hooked into when she's out most of the time. Well, it is, but it isn't. She's hooked into she's got a gentle leader harness that goes around her nose. But then it's hooked to her collar as well as that, so that when she does Houdini dog and gets that part unhooked, she's still hooked to something. So she can't just run off, because she can get the thing unhooked. She plays Houdini dog on me and gets the hook to her leash unhooked and goes running off around the neighborhood. Crazy dog. So I always try to get her something for Christmas. So this year I think she's getting a new collar. I think she'll like that. Used to be when you took her collar off, it was all you could do to catch her to put her collar back on her. She was like, I'm naked, I'm running around naked. Yay. Now you take her collar off and she's like, no, those are my clothes. You need to put my clothes back on. It's funny. Because she just had a plain purple collar to start with, and once I got her the one with the daisies on it, she seemed to notice that, one of them was prettier than the other, and it's like she had to have the daisies on. So, I don't know, go figure. My dog's weird. Because the minute you take it off of her, she's nosing to get it back on, and she would run from you when I had the purple one. Like, nope, don't want it on. Don't want it on. So, it wouldn't hurt to get her a new collar. And let's see, what else do we talk about? I'm running out of Christmas stories. I really am. I've gotten most of my Christmas presents made, except for this one. And this one I'll be working on right up till Christmas, so it's quite large. So, and I got my sister's Christmas presents in the mail yesterday, at least some of them. I don't know what else I'm going to get her, but I haven't figured that out yet. If anybody's got any suggestions, I would gladly accept them. She likes sloths. So I got her some sloth pajamas and a new pair of sloth slippers. But shh, don't tell her. And the reason I can say it on here is because she doesn't do YouTube. You hear my baby dog. Hey, Maddie. It's not time to go out yet. It's only 3:30. It's way early to go out. Lay down, baby. So, I'm hoping that if you're not subscribed to my channel, that you might give it a chance. I do a lot of whipping chats. We try to have a little bit of fun here. So it's kind of laid back and it's nothing majorly strict or anything. I don't make you do homework or anything like that. Audience participation is not mandatory, but it is what's the word I'm looking for? Encouraged. I do like my comments. I do try to answer all the comments that I get. So I'm hoping you like this little walk down memory lane as I reminisce about my Christmas memories and Christmas traditions through over the last 58 years. Granted, I don't remember the first one, but I tried. I was there, I just don't remember it very, because I was little. I was very little. Here's where I'd ask for you guys to make comments and let me know how you're doing, what you're working on, and tell me how you're doing and all that. Because I do care. I do want to know how you're doing and what's up with you guys in your little neck of the woods. In my neck of the woods, there's not much up. It's cold here. And I'm not turning my heater up any more than it already is because I already turned it on way earlier than I wanted to because we had a cold snap and I don't want to turn it up any more than it is. It's set on 65 and that's where it's going to stay for the rest of the year. Till summertime, and then it will be set on 78. If I get cold, I can always put on another sweater or a hat. That's generally what I tell all my friends when they tell me they're cold. I tell them to go put a hat on. Okay, here's one for you. Tell me what your favorite Christmas present was. Did you get what you wanted? Did you get what you asked for? Did you ask for what you wanted? Did you ask for what you needed? How many of you think that Christmas is for gifts that you want or Christmas gifts are for what you need? Because my mom always believed it was a mix of both. Because you got underwear and socks at the same time you got the things that you wanted to. But, you could pretty much expect that you were going to get underwear, socks, some other form of clothing item. Maybe you asked for something clothing related or not, but you were going to get something clothing related besides underwear and socks. So, yeah. So, I'm hoping everybody has a fantastic New Year's. That's coming up just right around the corner. Do you make any New Year's resolutions? Have you thought about them? If you do, and what are they if you do? I don't make any New Year's resolutions anymore because I never keep them anyway. So what's the point of making them? Because I know I'm just going to break them within a week. So I've already cut down on my smoking, so maybe I'll get quit, maybe I won't. Not a big deal if I don't. I'm down to half a pack a day, if less than that, depending. So I figure that's pretty good for me, considering I was half a day or a pack a day, if not more. Just over a little over sometime last month. Anyway, so I've cut way back on that, and I've been feeling better since I have, so I'm not coughing quite as much and not getting as out of breath like I was. So that's all good stuff. So maybe I'll go into 2024 a healthier rabbit. Maybe with a little more money in my pocket because I'm only buying 2 cartons of cigarettes instead of 4. So you never know. But my hour is almost up, and I want to get this uploaded and ready to post on Boxing Day. So I'm going to bid you all a very fond farewell for now, and I will see you next year, which is just a few short days away. I hope life will treat you kind, and I hope your Christmas was merry and your New Year's is jolly and bright. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody's.